Welcome to Coffee Break with Hayley. I'm a professional dancer and a rolfer. As a rolfer, I help you with your posture and alignment to find more ease. Often that work is hands-on in the connective tissue to help you come through blocks and things that are restricting, but there's also an element that is how we move. And so these videos are combining those rolfing principles of how we can move with more ease and do less, in order to gracefully do what we want to do in our lives. And also the dancing offer that I have combines into what these coffee breaks are becoming. So today I wanted to invite us into a tiny theme before we move. I was listening to a lovely talk this morning by one of my meditation teachers, and he was inviting us into this saying that the river that we visit is never the same river, right? Because the water flows, and when you meet it the next morning it's different water. But nonetheless, the river is there the next day, it has a name. And I thought what a lovely analogy this was for movement practice. And it reminded me what a lovely invitation movement practice is, to invite us into this ever transient flow. So we sit in meditation, and that gives us one thing, and that's important. And we're also absolutely observing the flow of change. But in movement, we can be in the flow of change, and I think that's really something that's really important about it and beautiful. So I wanted to invite us into this river of you this morning. So we're going to stand for this little practice. So find a space to stand. Great, okay, and your feet should be kind of quite wide apart under the hips, in a comfortable position. Take a moment to feel your back, invite yourself into the cushion that might be behind you. And feel a bit more like a sack of potatoes on your feet than a person, just for now. Nice. And imagine the river under our feet, right? That is also our feet, and so it's connected. Sometimes images really help us. So from imagining that river, our hands are going to float just a bit in front of us, and from that river of groundedness, they float up, so we can still see them in the corner of our eyes. So they're not too far behind. And they come above us, and in this moment we shift to one column, one side of us. It doesn't matter which side, and we don't collapse in the hip to shift over, we just shift to this whole tube of a column. And if you want to, you can pick up the other foot, or you can just balance on your toe. And we move the hands. We're not going to squat, but just so you can see my hands, I'm just feeling the texture of my hands against each other. And this is so it's like the river comes into a wave up here, feeling the texture of the wave as it crests, and then they fall back, the foot and the hands fall back down to the river. So again, we're back in the center. We feel the river of us under our feet, and our hands from the river float up. And then we go to the other side. The foot lifts to toe or into the space. Our hands feel each other in the wave, the crest of the wave, and then return. So again with me, feeling the river at our feet, arms floating from the river, shifting to the side, foot lifting, hands feeling, cresting the wave, and then falling back down to the river. Other side, hands from the river under our feet, arms shifting, lifting, feeling, falling. Great, so I'm going to put some sound on, and I won't talk too much while we're doing it, and we can do together. Gorgeous. So I hope you enjoyed this coming from the river review, floating, finding a column. Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much today about the anatomy of it because I want us to be in that felt sense of the river. But I hope you found that and enjoyed moving. Go and have your favourite cup of something and I'll see you next week. Okay, thanks for joining.